Joan Rivers said that Michelle Obama was a man before she died.
Was that a joke? I thought it was a joke.
I thought it was a joke too, but the way she said it wasn't like jokey. She was like, oh, come on, everybody knows Michelle Obama's a man.
Michelle Obama surprised fans on our new podcast by saying her pet peeve about her husband is that he's chronically late. For example, we're still waiting on him to admit he's from Kenya. And as for Barack's pet peeve about Michelle, he's mad that she keeps leaving the toilet seat up. When she cleans it. When she cleans it.
The real story isn't whether Michelle Obama can take criticism. It's how Joe Rogan and Gutfeld went after her polished public image without missing a beat. One minute she was still the favorite figure praised by audiences and book clubs everywhere. The next, she was trying to dodge Rogan's non-stop criticism and Gutfeld's cutting jokes like she was trapped in a political roast inside the White House gym. They didn't just question her reputation, they pulled it apart, covered it in sarcasm, and handed it back to the public cold. So what exactly did they uncover that suddenly pushed Michelle out of the spotlight? This whole situation may have become even more chaotic than the backlash surrounding her school lunch reforms.
Joe Rogan is calling out Oprah and Michelle Obama for hypocritical speeches at the DNC. Watch.
She's up there talking about income inequality. Like, hey, lady.
Yeah, I know.
You're rich as Like, how is that equal? And also, when Michelle Obama was saying, you know, I think she was saying her mother or grandmother was always suspicious of people who took more than they needed.
Yes.
Like, you are worth so much money.
Take more than they need. The Obamas have 4 mansions.
I mean, it's a bunch of rich people talking about rich people.
Michelle Obama once tried convincing an entire generation that soggy spinach and bland quinoa were the future of food. Like somehow a tray full of limp kale and mystery lentils was supposed to feel exciting. It wasn't a health revolution to a lot of people. It felt more like a direct attack on flavor itself. But she stepped out with those salad tongs like a general heading into battle, determined to transform school cafeterias using nothing but chickpeas, vegetables, and pure confidence.
So, president dies, everyone in the world shows up, and she doesn't break her vacation? It's not like she doesn't have access to a jet. Something is going on. Let's speculate.
Yes, please.
It's either surgery.
Oh.
That was my least controversial thing.
Depends what kind of surgery.
She will not sit close to the dictator. And by that, I don't mean Hillary, I mean Donald Trump. Or there's trouble in paradise between Barack and Michelle. I've heard things. I'm not going to substantiate that by repeating these rumors on national TV like I just did. But I'm just saying it's very odd that she's not there.
Yeah, we should ask Mike.
Then came Joe Rogan and Gutfeld, the unexpected pair nobody really saw coming. But somehow they became two of the only voices willing to say out loud what others quietly whisper between sips of green juice and expensive detox drinks. And they definitely didn't soften their punches. In their view, Michelle Obama's public image isn't built on inspiration. It's a mix of social media quotes, performative wellness trends, and contradictions dressed up like a motivational brand. Throw in speeches that feel longer than a documentary and presented as a historic legacy, and you've got exactly the image they're eager to tear apart.
Or the first woman
We already
president.
have it with Obama, so let's just calm down.
Got it.
You know Michelle is a
I'm sorry, she's a what?
a transgender. We all know.
Oh my gosh.
That's pretty funny how she said it.
Okay, we all know it.
Let's clear something up right away. This wasn't just some random shot at a former First Lady. To critics, it was about calling out the polished guilt trip hidden behind all the virtue signaling. Michelle Obama somehow made simple advice like drink more water sound like a grand moral command, as if she personally uncovered the secret formula for H2O. Meanwhile, parents were busy trying to keep their kids from trading celery sticks for actual snacks in the unofficial cafeteria black market.
Michelle Obama has openly admitted that she and Barack sleep in separate bedrooms. Here's how it works. She sleeps downstairs and he likes men.
Gutfeld jumped into the controversy with obvious delight, barely getting through his jokes without laughing as he pointed out what he saw as the irony behind Michelle's health campaign. All while White House events sometimes look like a health food store exploded across expensive dinner plates. Sure, everything was organic and carefully prepared, but people still wondered if any of it actually tasted good. After all, there's only so much beet hummus and kale you can dress up before someone starts treating it like a culinary emergency.
Just good to see everybody having a good time. The country's almost back to normal before World War III. COVID was just so strange. We lost a lot of people during COVID, and most of them are still alive. Yeah. Before COVID, I would have told you that vaccines are the most important invention in human history. After COVID, I'm like, I don't think we went to the moon. I think Michelle Obama's got a dick. I think Pizzagate is real. I think there's direct energy weapons in Antarctica.
Then there's Joe Rogan, a man who built his podcast empire by fearlessly going after society's untouchable figures without blinking. So naturally, Michelle Obama's polished and carefully managed image became the perfect target for him to tear into. One minute she's promoting fitness and healthy living like she's auditioning for an action movie, and the next she's delivering speeches that critics say make enjoying a slice of pizza feel like breaking the law. Rogan even joked about it, asking what the calorie count on self-righteousness might be. And critics definitely weren't going to ignore the Netflix empire either, because nothing says relatable quite like signing massive streaming deals while presenting yourself as the voice of ordinary people. To some viewers, her documentary felt less like a personal story and more like a cinematic tour through her own carefully crafted image, complete with slow-motion walks through cheering crowds and dramatic speeches framed like moments of pure inspiration. Then Greg Gutfeld joined the pile-on with his usual sharp sarcasm, cutting straight through what he saw as Michelle's polished branding. To him, many of her appearances felt less about activism and more about image, with speeches packed full of glossy motivational lines that sounded like a self-help seminar dropped into the parking lot of an upscale grocery store. Inspiring for some, maybe, but practical? Only if your dream life revolves around wellness slogans, designer notebooks, and treating a fitness tracker like a spiritual advisor.
Michelle thinks American men suck.
Let me warn you, your rage does not exist in a vacuum. If we don't get this election right, your wife, your daughter, your mother, we as women will become collateral damage to your rage. To make these choices clear to the men that we love, our lives are worth more than their anger and disappointment.
What's that pitter-patter sound I'm hearing in the background? It's the footsteps of Barack running to vote for Trump.
We haven't even touched her famous "when they go low, we go high" line, which some people see as less of a slogan and more of a polite way of saying we're better than you. Michelle fully embraced that message, turning it into speeches, books, and probably even an audiobook in several languages. Meanwhile, Joe Rogan has long questioned how her image shifted from First Lady to lifestyle icon and self-help voice, wondering when the conversation moved from school lunches to finding your purpose seminars. To critics, her public image feels highly polished, from carefully staged photos to soft lighting and picture-perfect moments that look almost too ideal to be real. It all comes across like a blend of motivational branding and wellness aesthetic, somewhere between live, laugh, love and a curated lifestyle campaign. Always smiling, but with a quiet tone that some interpret as subtle judgment of everything around her.
Someone put on Instagram, I believe, that Tim Dillon's video where he was saying that Michelle Obama should run for president. If she won, she could pull her cock out and China would just give up. I was fucking wheezing. I couldn't breathe. Big Mike.
Big Mike.
Gutfeld didn't hold back, mocking Michelle Obama's shift from First Lady to global voice of polished, feel-good slogans. He compared her advice to corporate LinkedIn posts, believe in yourself kind of lines that sound nice but don't answer real-life problems like paying bills. He also poked fun at the hype around her fashion moments, where simple outfits were treated like historic events, as if a cardigan could shift politics. Even her memoir got dragged in, described by critics as full of vague journeys and inspirational filler that feels more like a lifestyle blog than a real story. Meanwhile, Rogan reportedly questioned the whole image too, joking about how far things have moved from policy to personal branding and motivational storytelling.
So, Kat, they know that they're having a hard time with men.
Right.
Doesn't seem like this is the right strategy.
No.
She basically says that they're hurting women by voting for Trump.
But I think they don't understand that where it comes from in the first place is that people are sick of being told how bad they are and talked down to, and you know, the condescension doesn't work. None of what they're doing really works. I mean, the Walls AOC live stream of them playing Madden together was supposed to be to get like dudes who like football on their side, and they did it during football.
Michelle Obama is often criticized for presenting herself as relatable while living a life of extreme comfort, with luxury homes and a highly protected public image. Some commentators argue that her way of speaking about struggle doesn't always match her circumstances, comparing it to a wealthy figure lecturing on simplicity. Greg Gutfeld has mocked this contrast, pointing to how her lifestyle includes top-tier security, staff, and carefully managed public appearances, which can feel far removed from everyday life. Joe Rogan has also questioned the gap between her polished public persona and the average experience, suggesting her messaging sometimes feels overly scripted and detached. Even media coverage plays into this, often portraying her in an almost overly idealized way, where even small actions are framed as deeply meaningful. Critics argue this creates an image that feels more like branding than real life, especially when paired with her focus on health initiatives that remain controversial among those who remember the push for stricter school lunch standards.
Rumors continue to escalate for the Obamas. Hopefully they can settle it like men.
Michelle Obama is often portrayed by critics as someone whose speeches sound full of meaning but stay broad enough to be interpreted in many ways. Joe Rogan has suggested that modern public messaging like hers can feel overly polished and carefully shaped behind the scenes. Greg Gutfeld has also questioned the idea of her as a completely unifying figure, arguing that she tends to spark debate just as much as she inspires agreement. Her focus on fitness and health has been widely discussed too, with supporters viewing it as a push for better habits, while critics say it sometimes feels more like moral pressure than simple advice. Gutfeld has joked about how intense fitness culture can become around public figures, while Rogan has pointed out how inspiration today often blends into branding and performance.
Even if they run Michelle. According to a new poll, Michelle Obama isn't as strong a Democratic candidate against former President Donald Trump as many Dems would have you believe. In a hypothetical matchup, my favorite kind, Trump wins with 47% of the vote compared to Michelle Obama's 44%. I guess some of the kids whose school lunches she ruined are finally old enough to vote. Remember that? And
her podcast, unsurprisingly, gets dragged into the same criticism. Some describe it as a relaxed, feel-good space filled with gentle advice and personal reflections that can come off as overly polished. Joe Rogan has joked after listening to clips that it feels heavy on tone and light on substance, like inspirational talk that's more about mood than answers. Greg Gutfeld has mocked the idea of expanding her brand into things like libraries or wellness spaces, treating it as another extension of a carefully built public image. Critics often say her overall presence in media feels constant but controlled, showing up across platforms in a way that's more about messaging than spontaneity. Rogan has riffed on that idea by joking about exaggerated product tie-ins, while Gutfeld leans into satire about how far the wellness branding could stretch if taken to extremes. There are also occasional rumors and political speculation about her future ambitions, which commentators like Gutfeld use as material for humor, pointing out the contrast between being seen as an outsider while having spent years at the center of political power.
None of what they're doing really works. I mean, the Walls AOC live stream of them playing Madden together was supposed to be to get like dudes who like football on their side, and they did it during football. Like, who's consulting them on this stuff?
Yeah. It's
a woman, probably, also.
It's a gay man.
Michelle Obama is often presented by critics as a highly polished public figure whose message centers on empowerment, wellness, and personal growth. Joe Rogan and Greg Gutfeld have both used humor and satire to question how much of that image feels carefully managed versus genuinely spontaneous. Rogan has pointed out how public inspirational messaging can sometimes sound meaningful while staying broad and scripted, while Gutfeld often frames it as part of a larger media ecosystem that tends to celebrate certain figures without much pushback. From that perspective, critics argue her public brand blends motivation, health advocacy, and storytelling into a very consistent image that can feel more like strategy than accident. Supporters see it as effective communication and positive influence, while critics see it as overly curated messaging wrapped in inspirational language. The result is a figure who is constantly in the spotlight, interpreted in very different ways depending on the audience, and surrounded by ongoing debate about how much of it is image and how much is substance.